So here we have my brother, TJ Leverentz. He does news and sports at KWNO radio down there in Winona. TJ has done some play-by-play work in his life. He's been announcing since high school. What, you were a sophomore in high school or junior in high school, and you were calling the basketball games, right?
Yep. Yeah. Once everyone quickly realized that there was absolutely no hope of a possibly successful basketball career, I quickly went to the sideline behind the mic, and I haven't left since. So that's how I got my start. Shouts to Casey Eckert.
Well, it's a lot more fun being on the other side of it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
I think there's a meme now that I think about it where there's this big fat guy and he's laying on the couch double chinning, and it says like professional golfer misses a putt, me, and the guy's got the remote and says like, what a fucking idiot. It's like, that's so true though. Like we sit here with the beers out and our guts out. We're just criticizing all these professional athletes like, oh, he stinks.
Right?
Get him off the court.
100%. Get him the hell off the fucking TV.
That's the common man's way of watching sports right there.
Yeah. Well, I remember even there was a Vikings-Chiefs game this year where Kirk Cousins on like a 3rd and 4 slid after running 3 yards. And I just immediately jump out of my seat. I'm like, what is this moron's problem? Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, wait, I probably wouldn't get out of the pocket in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, Lepanto was telling us yesterday that him and his family have been running like a mile every day. And I was like, dude, you should see me run. I'd be gassed to half a mile in.
Did you ask him about his hair?
No, we did have people that wanted to know about that, but we did ask him about when Bert dropped the F-bomb on TV, and that was actually a really funny story. Hearing that,
I can't believe he still did that. That's insane.
He goes. Apparently, the producer was just screaming in his ear, like, "What did he just say on the air?" And then, we're live. Yeah.
Whoops.
But Tej, Your bit at KWNO was In the Know with TJ Leverentz. How did you come up with the name? Did the station give you that name, or how did that whole thing start?
So it was a station name. We had an individual in there earlier who's now down in Iowa, and I'll be honest with you, when I took that, I had absolutely zero clue as to what I was doing. I didn't know how to do a show, didn't know the sort of ins and outs of it. So one of the last things I wanted to change was the title of it, and it just kind of stuck. So it's been in the know now for a little over a year.
Is it podcastable?
Not
get us.
It's the echo.
Echo. No, not yet. We're working on that though. We're not as technologically advanced as you guys are at the take. I mean, you got nicer mics than we do. You got the nicer headphones. You got the merch. You even got like a studio light in there. Is that really necessary?
I'm the biggest investor.
Light?
There's cords all over the place. There's actually you guys can't see it in the webcam, but the webcam and the computer have so much tension that like the cord is sticking straight like an arrow. Like seriously, if you were to pull the laptop like a foot to the right, I think the webcam is like taped to the TV. I mean, we're putting on a good show, but it was definitely a MacGyvered setup for sure.
It's stitched together, huh?
Yeah. How's your home studio working?
It's been good. I'm returning to the regular studio tomorrow for the show, which is good because I've actually got a new board in there. I used to have a gateway monitor that was a touchscreen, and now I've got an actual like mixer gateway monitor, which I didn't know they still made those.
Yeah.
But it was live from the living room. Was there for I think since late March, since the first shutdown went into effect or whatever. And a little advice: it's always good to kill a bit too early than too late. It's like a player in the NFL. You'd rather get rid of a guy a year too early than a year too late.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and now you got the whole Tom Bernard setup. Now you know how he feels. I think he's fully at home. Those guys at home,
God, that's got to be nice.
Yeah, they have it nice. And it's funny because we were talking to Chris Long from KSTP, and he's so 5 Eyewitness News is back in the studio, but the anchors sit at different ends of the desk. Chris is on the complete opposite side of the room as usual. And it was funny. He came in right away. He was in the studio with the backdrop, had the suit on, and he goes. First thing he says is, "Where's Bubba?"
Oh, yeah.
Bubba's my guy. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
just absolutely yells it.
The people love me.
That's phenomenal.
I mean,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, Tej, what have you been doing to keep sane without sports, man? I mean, it's a question we've been asking everyone, and at this point, it might be a redundant question, but it's a good one, nonetheless.
Well, so you mentioned it already a little bit, just doing the news. I mean, this thing has been quite the news story. I mean, it's constantly changing all hours of the day. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately it's the virus, but that's been keeping me busy. And, I got to be honest, this Jordan doc thing, oh my God, what a lifesaver this has been. And I mean, I think I'm speaking for everyone here, and we had the draft. So, there's been a couple of things, and golf courses have opened. I don't know how much you guys have gotten out or anything, but, getting by. Hopefully this doesn't go on too long after the Last Dance, because then we're into a real kind of lull there.
Yeah.
Well, and it's weird hearing about what this whole thing could do for the future of sports. I mean, we could see college football be played in the spring. We could see the NHL, playoffs be played this summer, as well as the NBA playoffs, into August, which is just bizarre, because that's usually when football starts. It's just kind of incredible to see how everything's been going. But our end here at the Take, we've been doing this bit called No Cut Corona, where we're not shaving our beards. Well, he quit, but
no, I didn't.
No, take off your hat.
That looks pretty clean shaven.
Show the
actually.
people. No,
That's
you got a buzz cut this week.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and he goes
myself.
literally the day
I'm
before he was
fat,
going,
so
I
I
don't care what
sweat."
anyone thinks about what I look like, and then he comes back with a shaved head, and I'm like, what happened to the bit? What about No Cut Corona? Look at this.
I'm
Look at
sweating.
this head of hair. Look at that. That's
Oh,
disgusting. Look at the
Yeah,
beard.
but I sweat.
Jake's
I didn't
Jake,
even shower.
but Jake looks terrible.
Yeah, Jake looks like a greasy bastard.
So,
I
but
can't do this.
I see you got some facial hair going.
Yeah, no, I haven't touched my face with a razor since like mid-March.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this is the best I can do.
And now you're hitting, and No Cut Corona is like a peak radio guy move. I mean, PA said
is.
he's basically been participating in it as during the off season.
I was participating in it before. That's the beauty of radio.
Yeah. Well, and then we were having LaPanta and Fallness were going back and forth about video versus radio, and it's hilarious to kind of see both sides of it. But actually, I mean, Antia Utgard said she fully supported No Cut Corona. She's like she likes beards. So for those of you out there who've been making fun of us for this bit, the powers that be have endorsed it. So I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
If you pick up the endorsement from Antia, then anyone else, like, you don't have an opinion there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you
no
don't.
kidding.
Yeah. You have a question for Tej?
Oh, I got a lot.
I feel like it's
Oh, all right, let's go.
Do we want to do like a Bubba question segment eventually? Just let's do it now. Go for it. Here we go.
So in the Leverentz household, who is the favorite son?
Oh, God. Boy, that's tough.
Is it Cal?
I always say Cal.
Yeah, well, Cal, because, I mean, dogs are just better than people. That's true.
No, it's bad.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, have mom and dad ever confused you with the dog's name? I've been called Cal quite a bit in the last.
That's what I was just about to bring up. I'm not kidding you. Cal would do something, and the first instinct is yell, Jack! I mean, Cal! Like, he's third on the totem pole.
Or mom will be like, hey, Cal, Jack. I'm like, you just confused me with the dog's name? Like, that's a whole new level of low for me.
Yeah, but you're the more successful one out of the two of us. So
I
I
wouldn't say
feel like
that.
you got to be the favorite.
I wouldn't say
I feel like you got to be the favorite. You completed college in 4 years, unlike me. You got the truck. You've got this connection. You got this giant media company. These connections. You got a sick apartment. I think you're the winner right now.
Okay.
He's in the 1%.
Me?
Yeah.
I know you. I'm sure you guys.
Your
wanted me to
definition
come
of the
on and rip
1%
them,
is like 25%, like 50%. I don't know what your definition of the 1%. That's what
but
he
you have
says
a car,
about everyone.
That's good enough.
No, TJ, Bubba is completely against people who went to college.
No, I'm not.
Really?
Yes, you are.
I just went to
It's
the
not for
school of
everyone.
hard knocks.
He says the one thing
Attaboy.
they didn't teach you at college is how to admit when you're wrong. That's what he says.
It's
That's
true.
a good point.
All right, so
That's a good point.
where are all these other questions?
Are you a mama's boy or a daddy's boy?
Oh, probably a mama's boy. I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you. I spent a lot of time with my mom growing up. Nothing against the pops or anything, obviously, but
Yeah.
learned to bake from my mom. Tons of stuff like that. And I'm probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably say I'm more like my mom than my dad.
Yeah.
Looks wise, I'm like my dad, but personality, I'm probably more like my mom.
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah, keep going, man.
What's a secret that you haven't told anyone?
Wow. So this seems like a great platform for that. Huh?
Yeah, live stream, no cutting.
All right. Well, this isn't a secret as much as it is something I'm workshopping.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking.
Ooh, I like
Now,
this.
this is going to be really controversial,
This is on the record.
and I'm gonna need the results before I do this.
Okay.
But I'm thinking of establishing the anti-Adam Thielen corner.
Really? Does that?
Just out of absurdity. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It
He's a
doesn't
great
exist
story.
yet.
Awesome
You're
guy.
absolutely right.
It doesn't exist. That's the thing with media. You got to be like the first person on that corner. So, last year, I kind of, this came out of that Saints game before Thielen absolutely went off and became the hero that we all know and love. I'm like, Adam Thielen this year calls out Kirk Cousins week 3, gets injured, numerous turnovers, including in the playoff game. You know what? Who's going to hold him? Who's starting to hold him accountable? So, and he's just so popular, and really, I have no ill will towards him.
He has such a good story, but it's a business decision.
Oh, and an even better guy. Yeah. And an even better guy. And to be clear, I have no ill will toward Adam Thielen whatsoever. I mean, it's just a phenomenal story. I don't know if you guys knew this, but he was undrafted. Yeah. He played Division II, and he's actually from Minnesota. So, I know that doesn't get reported about him a lot.
Yeah.
But, so there's something right there. Just out of having an absurd bit would be to be the anti-Adam Thielen guy. I promise I would be the only person in Minnesota who would do that.
Hey, if you want to start a club, I'll support your club if you support mine. Mine is going to be the I slid in Kylie Jenner's Instagram DMs and didn't get a response club.
Okay.
I think recruiting is going to be considerably
Sounds
easy.
exclusive.
Yeah. So... I'm also, while we're delivering hot takes here, I think that now that Jameis Winston has LASIK, he's going to be a top 10 QB.
Unbelievable.
I think so many of those picks, and I said this to some of the Gopher guys on the air on Friday night. They were like, dude, he throws it to the other team. And I'm like, yeah, that's because he literally thought those were his players. They were great passes. Now that he has LASIK and he can see straight, apparently the guy couldn't even read road signs anymore. Adam Schefter tweeted, Jameis Winston says he is now able to see road signs. It's like, who's letting him drive?
Does that include the price tags on crab legs too?
Wow.
Hey, look at it this way. He's been throwing to Saints players for so long that I don't disagree with you. He's been throwing to Saints players his whole career. I mean, he's got good chemistry with those guys.
What is it? He's completed more passes to Saints players than
his own?
No.
Could be.
There's a really funny. Does anyone?
No, against the Saints, though.
Well, while you guys try and find those stats, I'll give you a little.
There's a funny stat
this is called vamping. So what he did last year was an absolute treasure. Wait, what's the stat?
He has more completions to Saints players than Taysom Hill, who is labeled as a quarterback of the team.
And who was the best quarterback in that Vikings Saints playoff game.
He's thrown 10 pick sixes against the Saints alone. Oh Jesus, he's bad.
See?
He's fucking bad. Maybe I take that back.
He's got out.
I'm pretty sure he was the first guy to throw 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and over 5,000 yards in a season.
I'll say this. Yeah. I would take Jameson over Kirk.
Jameson. No. You guys know Bubba's taking Jameis over Kirk.
Boy, I don't know. That's a hot take.
No, he has something against Kirk Cousins. He thinks Case Keenum was better.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Why not?
I think Kirk is better because he's just a more accurate thrower of the football, first of all. But I wish he'd have a little more of that risk-taking factor.
Yes.
I think that's what really worked for Case Keenum that year. That's what really worked for Jameis at times. And it kind of feels like that's almost what drove out Diggs a little bit and brought up some Thielen frustration. It's like, dude, we're the best receiving tandem in the NFL. Yeah. Throw us a 50-50 ball. That's what made Favre so great.
People were saying it all year that Kirk doesn't have the it factor.
He doesn't.
And I think I can get behind that as well.
He doesn't have that
I would agree
mentality.
with that. I don't know.
I know you got stuff planned for this, Jack, but can we talk about the Colts paying Phil Rivers a certain amount of money?
Yeah.
I mean, that made no sense whatsoever.
So
that guy's done.
I'm too distracted from that for being mad that they picked up Xavier Rhodes and thought that. I genuinely think the people in the Colts recruiting office accidentally clicked on the file that had his tape from 3 years ago. They're like, oh yeah, let's get this guy, and they didn't look at his 2020 tape.
If Jim Irsay had any role in that signing, that's totally understandable.
Yeah, that was one of Ballard's more absurd moves. But I'm too mad about that to think about Rivers. I like Rivers, and he had 23 touchdowns I think last year. Not bad numbers, better than Jacoby. But here's the thing: the Colts have all this money and they got to spend it. It's the same situation the Twins were in. They made the move. They picked up the veteran Donaldson, and we're gonna roll with it. That's where I'm at.
And it is worth pointing out too that that's a much better offensive line than he had in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, the best line in the league.
And probably a better coached team. Yeah, a better coached team. And I would say too on the Xavier Rhodes front. The good news is, who's the big-time receiver in the AFC South? Like maybe A.J. Brown, maybe Corey Davis. I mean, Houston just traded Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're going to have 6 games a year at least where Rhodes isn't going to be too overmatched.
Well, it's going to be neck and neck with Tennessee. They kind of got a pretty stacked lineup. But, the Colts now, they had a really good draft. They had that Patterson Jr. kid out of, was it USC?
I think so.
And then Jonathan Taylor, Badger guy. The last few years
got to hold on to the ball.
Him, but now I love him. But yeah, I mean, Phillip Rivers, I'm going to buy a jersey. I don't think I have a choice.
Ridiculous.
I don't think if Phillip Rivers plays, it was like when the Vikes got McNabb. You had to get a jersey that year. Just to say you were there for
jersey.
it.
Save your money.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Tej, how did you ever really get started in radio, and how did you decide that was kind of the route you wanted to take? Because I know in broadcasting, there's so many different avenues out there, but there's video, audio. You can be kind of the AV producer type guy. What made you choose radio over?
Well, just first of all, growing up listening to it, right? I mean, anytime you and I'd be in the car with Dad, he'd have Garage Logic on. I think Grandma and Grandpa would be Sid Hartman. It's
PA
just
and
kind of
Dubé.
PA and Dubé back in the
Mackie and
day.
Judd.
I mean, it was
yeah,
Judd and Fun, the ride with Royce. I mean, just all the and the Twin Cities. I mean, the talent up there is really unbelievable. I mean, the empire that like K-Fan has built is unlike any other really in the country. So, I think just being around that and kind of wanting to jump into that. And quite honestly, a lot of that's dictated by the opportunities you have too, right? Like here at Winona State, there wasn't much of a video department, but there was a campus radio station that was ran by the program director at K-Fan. And so you kind of just do that. And it's really kind of where you enter in, I feel like, as to where you end up in broadcasting. It's really hard just to get that foot in the door, to use the old cliche.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like us trying to penetrate the industry,
Yeah, you penetrate there, huh?
That's okay. That's an entrepreneurial word. That's an entrepreneurial word, and it's a legitimate word, but it's very funny. It's totally that's what she said. Penetration into the digital digital media
penetration's
industry.
Key in broadcasting, no doubt about it. If you can't penetrate, you might as well not broadcast.
You might as well not even show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that took a turn.
Penetration required.
Now you've done. We talked about play-by-play, but you did play-by-play for Winona State in college. Kind of go on. What you love about play-by-play as opposed to color commentary or pregame, postgame. Once again, there's a lot of ways you could have chosen, but you chose play-by-play.
So it was play-by-play was an audition of the spring game, which is really odd. I don't watch a lot of spring games at Division I. But Division II, the spring game is essentially a public practice, and they do scrimmage, but it's really scripted and it's all kind of all over the place. So I somehow got the play-by-play gig from that. And, first of all, being color actually is really fun, especially on the radio, because you can just sit back, you throw in your 2 cents, and
just talk when you want, really.
Yeah. And you can watch a lot more of the game too. That's the thing. Like when you're doing play-by-play, you're looking at your call sheet, you're looking at the stats, you're looking at the score, you're looking at a reaction on the bench. You're all over the place for play-by-play, where the color guy, you can literally just sit there and watch the game. But really the thing for me with play-by-play is just, and I don't know, this might come off as incredibly selfish, but it's just fun to sort of be the guy that everyone's relying on to tell you what's happening.
Yeah. Well, and
to be the person to bring what you see to life for someone who is not seeing what you see.
I think with how fast you have to not only talk, but how fast you have to react and think, I think maybe 1 out of 100 people in the world could do play-by-play.
I mean, no. You're way overdoing it.
You think?
I've been doing high school.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You just have to think and see stuff so fast, and there's so much that you have to cover. And I mean, yeah, you might think I'm overdoing it, but I try to think about my brain in that situation, and I don't think I could do it. Like, I mean, the amount that you're talking and the amount of reliable information you have to deliver at the same time as fast as possible, it sounds incredibly difficult. And I know maybe over years of practice you get better, but maybe my thing was 1 out of 100 people could be really good at play-by-play. I guess maybe anyone could pull it off.
I think I could do it.
Yeah? You think so?
Yeah, I know so.
Too bad we don't have a clip or something for Bubba.
I know.
Pull a clip up on your laptop.
Give us. We did PA impressions. Tej, you give us you should give us yours, or give us like your touchdown call. Something.
Yeah,
give us a classic call.
Come on, Tej.
A classic call.
Like let's say a 50-yard touchdown pass and it's caught. Went up high. You want a pie for it? No.
So you want to? Yeah, you guys have had the play-by-play cred on. I can't believe I'm following. You might be follow LaPanta, Mike Grimm, who's fantastic. Obviously, we know about PA. You had Fallness and Dick
Kevin
Kramer,
Fallness joined the stream later when we were drinking. He hung out for. I mean, he didn't come on the stream, but he was watching, and then he gave us the follow on Twitter. That was pretty cool.
I've heard nothing but great. Who's been your favorite person so far?
Oh, Nordo.
So many.
Nordo, really?
Yeah, he did a rap for Bubba.
Oh God, he's talented. I mean, that guy. You guys talk about producers. I mean, he is phenomenal. The Chevy on the blocks.
I had way too much fun with PA. He's such a. I had fun with LaPanta too. Antia, pretty much everyone I've been on with, I've had a good time. But yeah, Tej, let's hear your touchdown call.
All right. Let's just say this is the Vikings.
Okay.
All right.
Easy enough. Yeah.
Okay. Ball at the Minnesota 43. It's 2nd down and 4. Cousins under center. Cook the I in the I formation. 2 receivers out left, 1 right. Cousins takes a snap. Play actions to Cook. Rolls out to his left. Sets. Fires deep left side. Caught Thielen at the 20. He's to the 10. 5. End zone. Touchdown. Vikings.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's easy to make up. It's easy on the spot. It's all
like
about
all that shit that you had to say before. I mean, if I would. I don't know. I don't feel like I could fire all that off before.
I kind of screwed
everything
up the
happens
formation
so fast.
That's all right.
Vikings don't really line up in the eye either, but
yeah. Well, and you have to have a deep knowledge about the game too. That's also something that people don't might not always think of when it comes to play-by-play.
No, that's an excellent point. Like I learned that very quickly. I mean, you'd be amazed at how much preparation you have to do. And like one of my favorite play-by-play guys of all time is Vin Scully. Mm-hmm. And the guy would have a story about the usher in like section 236. But, when it's a baseball game, it's just filling the time and just having that stuff. So, you have to do that. You have to know the players' stories. You have to have stats. I mean, the amount of preparation that goes into a play-by-play broadcast is pretty rigorous. And,
for sure.
I'm willing to bet that if like Joe Buck could be an analyst for a football game. That's obviously not what he's the best at, but just from the knowledge base that he has, he's credible enough to be able to be the color guy.
Yeah, well, and we were talking to Corey Provis as well, and he was talking about what it's like doing that kind of stuff for baseball, as well as Dick Bramer was telling us about how it could be so weird when you're up in the booth if there are no fans, because he always broadcasts with the window open, and if the players on the field can hear him, that's going to be a major issue. So once again, it's just funny hearing it's really interesting hearing all the different sides of broadcasting. I mean, I think people don't realize how many different positions or sides there are to it.
So I have a story about a player hearing something I said on a broadcast. It was the NSIC conference tournament in Sioux Falls. The women's tournament, and Winona State and Augustana were the 2 top teams. It was like Duke, North Carolina that year. And, I mean, we were into it. This was the 3rd time they played. The 2 other games have been really close. It was like a conference semifinal. So really heated environment. And there was a play, and I was on the color. There was a play that happened near us, near where we were seated on press row, and a foul got called. And I go, yeah, that was a makeup call for that previous play. And then the player that got fouled, which I didn't see her, but my play-by-play guy said the player just glared at me.
Just gave you.
She just turned and stared at me after I said, "Yeah, that was a makeup call." I think she's an assistant now for Concordia St. Paul.
Oh.
Well, man, that's tough though, because with basketball you can't sit up high all the time. You're right down there on the court, your court side, so they can totally hear something you say. That guy.
Yeah, the best was when our mic would keep. The best is when our court mics would pick up the coaches swearing. That was funny.
Oh yeah.
Here, can we swear on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I'll never forget this. This was in Bemidji, calling a Winona State football game. And it was first of all, the booth windows didn't open. Like if you're going to build a broadcast booth, never have windows that are just shut all the time. So what it was.
Wait, really quick. Do you need to be able to hear the sounds, or that's kind of what Bramer said?
Yeah, well, and then you get a lot of reverb too. Like if you're talking into glass, you get a lot of reverb, and it just doesn't sound very good.
Gotcha.
So in Bemidji State, the setup was my color guy John and I were in one booth. Next to us was the Winona State coaches, and then there was a wall there, but the booth is so freaking old that the glass or the wood, one of the two, started to warp, and so what you had was a gap like this wide between our booth and the coach's booth. Yeah. So every time, there'd be a big play from Bemidji State, you'd hear, "What the fuck was that, you guys? You goddamn fucking asses!"
I love it.
Picked up over the mic and then be like, "All right, it's 1st and 10 for Bemidji at the
Were your producers like, you guys need to figure out how to get?
There was a lot of complaints, but sometimes
what do
there's
you
just
do
nothing
though?
You can do.
That's
nothing,
setup,
really. You just kind of are along for the ride, you know.
And I guess that's just kind of a funny story because we don't, you know, when you see all these broadcasts from TV of what's happening, you know, with the coaches, all you can see is them flipping with the mic. So they go up to the guy in the booth and he's just sitting there. But in all reality, they're probably just hacking up a swear fest up there, just
God, yeah,
throwing F-bombs around.
Coaches curse like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that's
not for
awesome.
the faint-hearted, man.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, TJ, I wanted to get a couple of your takes on some recent Minnesota sports stuff.
Yes,
how
please.
about, what do you think about the Vikings draft pick? What the draft this year? They had 15 picks.
Something 50 is something absurd like that.
Does that make sense to you?
You know, I really like. I think it's a gift that we got Jefferson where we got him at 22. I think it was a big surprise that he was there. I think that's a good replacement for Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like the corners they drafted. The corners seem like Zim guys. I just, you know, everyone's giving Rick Spielman pats on the back for acquiring all these draft picks. And the fact of the matter is, you know, it's probably, once you get out of round 4, what would you guys say? 15-20% of the picks hit.
Yeah.
If that. So, you know, everyone's all pumped up about, you know, like, oh my God, he got all these draft picks and this and that. And it's like, yeah, but how many of those guys are going to hit? And, you know, I still don't know what it is. And maybe it's just how the board shook out, but I still don't feel great about the offensive line. I just don't. The offensive line timeline to me doesn't sort of match up. And what strategy it looks like they're copying. They're copying the Seahawks strategy when they had to get rid of the Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was some friction with Russell Wilson and whatnot. They kind of tried to rebuild on the fly, and one of the ways they did that was by adding a bunch of draft picks to sort of rebuild that defense, similar to what the Vikings have to do. The only difference is they got Russell Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah.
So, like, Wilson can kind of carry a bad team or an average team. Yeah, and he just has that ability to carry a subpar team farther than they should go.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins doesn't. So,
He's right.
And they're going to have to extend Alvin Cook, which is something that you don't see a lot in the NFL. Not a lot of second contracts awarded to running backs. So, you know, that's kind of off course from the draft. I mean, it's what they had to do. It was the right move, I think. But just to go ahead and just throw Spielman a parade for this, it's like, you know, most of these picks aren't going to hit. It's just the reality of football.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm warm in here. I'm turning on my fan.
Oh yeah,
I feel you, bro.
It's hot. I don't know if let me know if this picks up and I can turn it off again.
All right, we got the AC going too. It's nice. It's nice we're finally having to make those calls to turn on air conditioning. That's a good sign. The Kaprizov news. I know we've all been kind of anxiously waiting for something to happen. How excited are you about that?
Yeah, you know, I was very pessimistic about it because it's like, what are the chances that Vladimir Putin's going to let some Russian hockey phenom come over here again?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's kind of the Wild's last hope, right?
I'd agree.
It's not like they're even in a situation where you could tear this thing down and rebuild. I mean, you'd have to offer like the TF Performance Center, I feel like, to get rid of Parisi and Suter's contracts to teams. So, you know, kind of their last hope. We'll see. Fiala seems like a good pick, ironically made by the previous GM, not the current GM. But you know, it's too bad because this team is clearly one that's hit its ceiling, and they can't do the quintessential blow it up and go get a goal scorer in the lottery. Maybe they'll get lucky in the lottery. I just saw a thing, I think it was today, that they're still considering holding a virtual NHL draft in June. So maybe we'll get like the Blackhawks, because I know they had I don't know how the lottery rules work, but they got to move up. So maybe that'll happen for the Wild. But I mean, they need to get lucky at this point because they are stuck in sports purgatory, basically, where you don't suck enough to get a good player, but you're not good enough to win a title.
Just always on the bubble, and then when you're on the bubble like that, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose in the first round, or you know maybe.
Now, of course, if we were talking about the Wolves, we'd settle for that.
Yeah. No, it's funny. We had John Krasinski on from The Athletic, and we asked him who would win a championship first, the Vikings or the Wolves. He goes, "Oh, I haven't started drinking yet. I can't answer that." That's kind of funny.
Oh man, that's a great question though.
Yeah, no, but we're having Russo on at 2:30, so we're gonna hear. He wrote. I don't know if anyone else out there is subscribed to The Athletic. He wrote an amazing article on you know, everything about Kaprizov and kind of his move from the KHL to the NHL. So, you know, hopefully we're gonna get a little more insight into that later for those of you who are tuning in. But let's get a little bit into gambling, Tej. You are a big sports gambler along with myself. What have you been betting on? I mean, have you been gambling at all? What's been What's been your whole deal?
They haven't bet on a single thing since the sports world stopped. But it's funny. I was on a kind of historic cold streak going in. Championship week was not good. It actually started the last Saturday of the college basketball regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Lost all my bets, lost Sunday bets. And then I get into championship week, continue losing. I think I'd lost 9 straight on our mortal lock board at work. and with the 9th defeat being the Miami Wake Forest ACC tournament, or it might have been Miami Virginia Tech. I can't remember. But the opening round of the ACC tournament, it was like 29-23 at halftime. I had under 59.5. And then the total ended up being 2 points over the under. Like both teams just caught fire in the second half. And then the sports world ended. So I was like, boy, that might be a good sign to just kind of cool it off a little bit, reset. Yeah. What about you? What are you betting on?
Well, so I took a break in February. I said I was going to take the whole month off. I took like a week off. And then I found myself screaming at my laptop while folding laundry because I picked the over-under for the Harvard-Yale game. I picked like over 79.5.
Yeah.
Those nerds didn't score for like 20, probably like 2 or 3 minutes straight, and I was frustrated. But no, a funny story for those of you out there who are also sports gamblers. TJ and I were both home for Thanksgiving, and we both took the Bears money line on that game where it was like the Lions third string was starting, and we're like, oh, cool, free money. Like we both jumped a bunch of money into Bovada. And next thing you know, the Bears, like Trubisky had to put on like a game-winning drive to win the game. And I remember we were sitting there, we were all holding hands. We were all sitting there holding hands, doing grace. And me and you are like, we had like an eye peeked up to the TV because there was like 20 seconds left in the game. Trubisky's on the 20-yard line. It was timing. It came down to the wire.
Yeah.
I mean, degenerates got to be degenerates, so that's
it's too bad the Bears aren't extending him. That was a real blow to the Vikes that the Bears aren't going to pick up that 5th-year option. Can I tell you a quick story about when I almost screwed up a giant parlay that we ended up winning on?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So at the radio station, we've got this bit called the Mortal Lock Board, where we essentially write up gambling picks, and if you get the pick wrong, you got to pitch in $1 to the pot. And then what we do is we take the money from the losses and we put it on just an absurd parlay. We go down to the Q Casino in Dubuque, Iowa. Only reason to ever go to Iowa for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're watching it, and everything's hit. This was like a 7 or 8 team parlay, and a lot of it was easy stuff. And all we needed was LSU to cover 1.5 against Alabama. And I was off somewhere else in the casino. I come back walking up, and I'm like, 15 points with 3 minutes left? Looks like we don't need to sweat this out, boys.
Yeah.
And we had like, it was total of like 100 to win 1,300 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money could have been coming our way. So the minute I say that, Alabama starts staging this furious comeback.
Oh, no.
They cut it within 2. Nobody's talking to me. And then LSU eventually pulls the game out. But I almost single-handedly torpedoed what was a fairly profitable parlay.
Yeah, no, that happened to me too with the Gopher Penn State game. Remember how there was like 7 minutes left? The Gophers were up like 3 scores. I think they were up 17 points. I go, I'm going to say it now. This game's over. I'm like, this game's fucking over. And everyone's like, don't you dare say that. And I'm like, no, it's over. And then like the Penn State marches down the field, scores a touchdown. Gophers go 3 and out. Penn State gets the ball back. Gophers go 3 and out. And everyone's like, dude, if they lose, like you should probably just skip town. And I was like, I've never been so nervous in my life. Like my heart. I remember that the Penn State was on like the 20-yard line and they threw that pick, and I just sank in my chair and let out the biggest sigh of relief. But
and you know what the worst part about that is too is just the tense silence that follows.
Yeah.
Like after you say something, just like no one responds to it.
Yeah.
And then shit starts hitting the fan and no one's talking, and it's like,
and then you're like,
I can't believe I just did this.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm public enemy number 1 if this happens.
Yeah.
But TJ, we got a donation from a John Mitchell. And the comment on it says, I know it's no longer shot for shot, but can TJ take a shot?
Oh, geez, a shot.
Yeah.
I don't have any booze in here. I could go grab some, but I don't know.
I mean, we could take a quick break. Bubba and I could throw in the interlude.
Yeah. Here, I'll go. I don't know what I have.
Thank you, John, for your donation.
Yeah.
Whatever you got.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
I'll be right
good.
back.
Thanks, Teej. So, Bubba.
What are you cuddling with me? Let's go back live. Let's settle this. You're also a terrible person. You realize that, right?
How am I a terrible person?
You just told me today that you lied during confession.
I lied during confession. Okay, Teach is back.
Oh, convenient timing for you, buddy.
No,
right when you're on the
Teach
fucking hot
saved
seat.
me by the bell.
Yeah. Oh,
This is yeah.
Teach.
It is room temperature.
Rumpy's at 1:44 on a Tuesday.
I don't think it's
Or
been
on a Sunday afternoon. That's
I don't know which one of my roommates bought this. Oh, you know what this was
Actually-
for?
yeah.
This is back when we played cribbage here at the old college kid compound. And what we would have to do is if you got skunked, you had to take a shot of this. So I think this is a communal thing. So
Communal Rumpies.
yeah, where's your guys'? You guys got one, or am I the only one that has to
I'll
take
do
one?
one. Zooch, you want to grab that top cupboard? There's a
I'll
bottle
take
of
a
Fireball.
half a shot.
Oh, come on.
This is
Fuck
how
it,
we-
I'll do a full.
This is how
Yeah,
10,000
God, I
takes
gotta put-
expresses gratitude.
Let me
It
know when you
always
guys
comes
are
down
ready.
to
I'm putting the
alcohol,
cap
doesn't it?
back on this. This smells horrendous.
I can just do it from the bottle.
do this anymore.
Yeah,
All right.
Fireball must be nice.
Ready, Teed?
All right,
Thank you,
wait.
John Mitchell, for the donation.
Yeah.
For everyone else who's been donating. Cheers.
It's awesome. You
Virtual
guys went over
cheers.
1,000, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Cheers to you guys and everyone. All right, here we go. Woo!
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, but in terms of gambling, I've had. I think my last bet was on the XFL, like the week that everything tanked. That's the last time I placed a wager. But
boy, that's too bad that went away.
my guy Dev Dalton works here at 10,000 Takes. He has discovered a website that's currently in beta called betontheweather.io.
Oh God.
You can go over under on forecasts, which is actually kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie, but because weather, it's a known fact that weathermen sometimes butcher calls or butcher predictions.
The weather terrorist.
And now for all those people who are like the weathermen don't know shit, well, this is your time to shine and to make profit off it. So yeah, betontheweather.io.
Well, you got Korean baseball starting up May 5th. So
Oh, there you go.
Oh, do we?
yeah.
All right. Off to speaking of
ESPN's broadcasting the games too, I think.
We were talking to LaPanta. He said he was watching dodgeball on ESPN, the Ocho, and he goes the movie great, the actual sport terrible. Don't watch dodgeball. But he was telling us about a sport that in one of his early gigs he announced this sport called ringette, and it's like women's hockey except they use a like donut shaped puck almost, and then they use sticks like a broomstick. And I don't know if you put the stick like in the middle and then you like fling it or how it works, but he said it wasn't even announced live. Like they aired it like hours after
Tape
it
delay.
was live. And yeah, but just going off of weird, peculiar sports to gamble on, I go, is that still a thing? Because I'd love to gamble on it. And he goes, I don't know if you're gonna find anything on Ringette. I always drove away saying to myself, well, there's absolutely no one's gonna watch that.
Well, you bet on me eating.
Yeah.
There's a good one.
Yeah, the pizza
That's a
rolls
good
thing. Yeah. Bubba has a contest, a pizza roll eating contest with Nordo and Tommy Olson from K-Fan coming up this summer, guys.
Did you win?
It hasn't happened yet, but
The original one.
there's a lot of money on the line. Tommy Olson bets $300 that Bubba can't eat more pizza rolls than he can.
Well, so have you guys heard the stories of like Tommy Olson's fast food orders?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, him and Bubba were talking about Burger King yesterday.
Oh my God. Well, I remember one time he went to like 3 different restaurants and his girlfriend was in the car and he's like, "Oh yeah, Bae loved it." It's like,
yeah, he's like, I used to
and
be
he's
disgusting.
not. I mean, he's a pretty skinny guy too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, didn't he do the football player thing where he lost a bunch of weight when he was done playing?
Yeah. No, and he said he doesn't want to do the pizza roll eating challenge until July because he's cutting down. So
Yeah.
But Bubba's cutting down too. So
Yeah, I'm cutting down,
They're
too.
doing that
Yeah,
one.
same here.
They're doing that one together.
I'm back in the dating game, so I can't settle
Attaboy.
anymore.
Yeah, you just
Yeah, you were just on Tinder before the stream.
Yeah,
so.
I'm on
always
Tinder.
I'm the king of Tinder.
Every day you just lays
You
on the
guys should-
couch. I think
You
I'm
guys
in
should
love.
try and. You guys should book someone that Bubba matches with.
Oh,
See if they hit it off.
yes. Maybe I
Yeah.
should get my ex-girlfriends on.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible idea.
It sounds like a
Absolutely.
Maury Povich
Maybe the worst
show
idea
or
you've ever
Jerry
had.
Springer.
You are not the father.
You are not the father. And the guy
Oh,
starts
man.
dancing. Oh my lord, that's a good show.
That's a good bit.
Tej, we talked to PA yesterday. Didn't PA get a hold of your tapes one time, or I thought you had some sort of connection with PA at one point.
Yeah, so I mentioned the guy who runs the campus radio station down here. Doug Westerman was a program director. And he told a funny story, actually, about what got PA involved at KFan, because he just started doing sports updates. That's it. He'd be like, this is Paul Allen with your KFan Sports Minute or whatever. And Jesse Ventura, at the time, had 9 to noon.
That guy.
So Jesse runs for governor, and no one gave him a shot. Everyone was thinking, like, okay, yeah, Jesse's gone. We're going to have PA fill in for him temporarily. And then, lo and behold, Jesse won.
Yeah, so PA
gets
got
that spot.
Yeah.
Yep, and then he got tried out with the Vikes. Again, as Westerman says, at his behest, PA got the job there. And so, yeah, he did send that. PA said, imitation's the most sincere form of flattery, because I think I did like a, and he's sacked!
Oh, no! Yeah, yesterday he goes, I can just picture Adrian Peterson breaking through the hole, and he's loose! Just went off. It was amazing. And he was he was talking about his how he was doing virtual hockey. There's videos of him, this isn't Montreal, man. This is the Stanley Cup. Oh, no! Virtual hugs, virtual high fives, virtual hugs. Honestly, some of the most incredible content. If you guys haven't seen PA do virtual hockey, it's
phenomenal.
It's what he does with football, but like so much better in the context of hockey. I mean, something, the energy you've never seen from another human being. It's actually incredible.
Great.
Well, and as you guys know, he got his start really in horse racing.
Yep.
And I think with the pace at which you have to move, hockey's probably a little closer to horse racing than football is. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really a surprise that he's a super talented guy, so obviously he'd be good at almost anything, but hockey does seem like a good fit for him.
Yeah. Bubba, what other questions you got for Tej? We got about 5 minutes left for rapid fire.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, I have not been arrested.
Have you ever gotten a ticket in New Richmond?
Not in New Richmond. On the way back from Winona, one time speeding, and then another time speeding when I was getting hammered at my buddy's cabin when I was a senior in high school. I wasn't drunk when I was pulled over for speeding. I was the next day. So
do mom and dad know about this ticket, or are we breaking that news on the air?
Oh yeah, no, it's not breaking news. It's known.
Okay. You want to break some
I got
news?
6 demerit points on my record. So kind of a grade A badass.
You are a grade A badass.
Oh, thank you, Bubba.
No problem.
What else you got? You were so excited. You were talking about this all fucking
Are you afraid of getting tattoos?
Not afraid. It's just not something I do. I don't. Just never had any real desire to get one. No problem with anyone who has one, but
Bubba has a tattoo gun, so that's a very
let me give you a tattoo.
Oh, right on the waistline, huh? Oh, you have an actual gun.
Bubba said that he would let me give him a 10,000 takes tattoo.
Yeah,
there you go.
And all you guys can sign.
I've also never given a tattoo to someone before. I couldn't draw the state of Minnesota very well. I can get the basic outline, but all the curves and stuff, I'll screw that up.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I'll just write it on your arm if that's cool with you.
It's up to you.
I'll write it in cursive.
Sure.
You want a pie for it?
He won a pie for it. God, that's a good bit. Yeah. Mike Grimm told us the story.
You get him to do that? What a pie for it?
Yeah, and he goes. I said he went up high for it. But, K-Fan called me on and he goes, they go, the power trip wants to talk to you. And he goes, oh, no.
Oh, no.
What did I do? But.
Oh, so that's where that comes from. Good stuff.
Yeah, well, he said, too, that the bit turned into such a big thing that actually during Gopher football games, they started putting pictures of apple pie flashing on the screen. When someone,
nice.
Well, it was when Tyler Johnson would get a touchdown, right? Because it was his touchdown.
Oh, that's cute.
For like a second. I didn't even notice that.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably just an inside joke that no one else knew but them. But
where did he go again? Oh, the Bucks. That's right. Yeah, Tyler Johnson with Tom Brady.
Buccaneers.
That's going to be one of those guys where it's like, wow, I can't believe he went in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Well,
Packers didn't need him. It seems
Winfield
like
Jr. went there too.
Yeah.
Good Gopher guys.
Yes, that's cool.
I know a lot of the Vikings fans wanted Winfield Jr. to come stay home, but at the same time, I mean, think about it. At least for Tyler Johnson, he's going to get the ball thrown to him by Tom Brady his first year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
don't
maybe.
know.
That's true.
I mean, there's just a lot of mouths to feed, and especially if this Antonio Brown stuff is becoming kind of real. There's a lot of mouths to feed down there, but
can you elaborate on that? I haven't heard anything.
So the reports apparently are that Brown and Brady are like this for some odd reason. Like arguably the most sane, stable NFL player in history is buddies with the most unstable, insane NFL player. Yeah. And the Antonio Brown story is kind of sad because a lot of this behavior surfaced after that playoff game with the Bengals where he just got absolutely smoked in the head.
Injuries.
So it's a real issue. There's no news reports linking that, but you do wonder just the timeline aspect. But apparently he loves Antonio Brown. And Brown lived with Brady when he did his brief stint with the Patriots. And there's been some buzz, nothing official from anyone involved, but there's been some buzz from the insiders that Brady's very much interested in bringing Antonio Brown to Tampa with him.
That's an interesting take.
Can you imagine, though, like, never did we ever say I think Tampa Bay might win the Super Bowl until a time like now. Gronk comes out of retirement. Yeah, you already have Mike Evans, Tom Brady now, and they got some really good weapons on defense.
If this head's screwed on straight, look out. That's going to be interesting team.
That team was a goddamn laughingstock last year with Jameis. His whole thing where it was kind of like a Fitzpatrick. He almost reminded me of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He'll throw five touchdowns one game, and the next game he'll throw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, absurd stats that don't end in wins. Yeah,
and he's seen so many cities. But Teed, before we wrap this up, for anyone who's been watching, we end every segment all the way from Bramer to Paul Allen to LaPanta to Teej to Sota Pod, all these amazing guests we've had on. No matter who you are, where you're from, rapid fire. It's the only constant about the Sota stream as we change stuff up.
They took it from my show too.
Yeah, the Bubba breakdown. He was laying on the couch this morning. I just can't do the Bubba breakdown anymore. I'm done.
It was a bit.
Here's a little thing about media. Yeah. If you've stolen it from me, you've stolen it twice. So think of that.
TJ, you've been playing the bit card, for years now.
Are we just gonna call out Bubba now?
Yes. Okay. So please answer this question and answer it honestly. Can you consider it a bit if you're just blatantly lying about something?
It's not lying. It's a joke.
No, but he lies about shit, and then he goes,
it's
it was
constant,
just a bit.
Like, Jack, if you open up your fridge and your orange juice is gone and, Bubba's the only person in the house and you ask him, Bubba, did you drink this? And he says no. Is it that kind of lying or is it, lying of the absurdity?
Here's example A. So we were just hanging out, watching the Vikings game in, October. Yeah, and he goes, yeah, I don't know if you guys know it, but I'm first cousins with Brock Lesnar.
No,
we could probably get him on the take, and I was like, would he kick my ass for if he comes on and kicks my ass could we do a charity thing, or I don't know what the whole idea was, but he goes, yeah, I'll see what I can do, and then he goes, and then we're all like, yeah, I don't know if I believe you there, Bubba. I don't think you're actually cousins with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, let me call my dad. Pulls out his fucking flip phone.
No, I got an iPhone.
Oh, you got an iPhone on yesterday. And he calls, Dad, yeah, I'm third cousins with Brock Lesnar, right? And he goes, what? No. Where'd you get that from? He goes, shit. And he hangs up. And he goes, it was a bit.
It's a harmless bit.
No, you were just blatantly lying.
Yeah, it is harmless. I'd agree it is harmless. Bubba, I think before you do that, you need a little forethought, and it's hard because these things sometimes randomly pop up.
Yeah.
But, I did that with Steph Curry. We were watching the finals. I had a buddy who was seriously so gullible, it was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I told him one of the reasons why Steph Curry is good is because he infamously never showers. And to this day, he still believes it. So I think I support the bit a little bit.
So you can lie if it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, lie if it's funny.
That's a good bit.
All right.
And if it doesn't hurt anyone.
All right. Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Just we had to clear the air there. All right, rapid fire. Teej, you ready? 1 minute on the clock.
Wow.
Would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Oh, in an Olive Garden.
Like it.
Totally.
If you were given an all-expenses-paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Probably, just because I'm cheap.
In. Hot dish or casserole?
Hot dish. Term? I'm glad you brought this up because if you've had any guests that have called it a casserole,
you've got
one. Oh my god!
I don't remember who it was. Someone last night. Who said casserole? I feel like I was on the air for that one.
Audra?
We don't need to. Oh, was it Audra?
Might have been Audra Martin.
No,
we don't need. We don't.
It was Audra. It was Audra.
I don't want to drag anyone. I don't want to drag anyone here because everyone's being extremely nice, and this is such an awesome thing you guys are doing.
Yeah.
But what the hell? Have some goddamn self-awareness.
Yeah, no, it's fucking hot dish. It's Grey Duck as well. People,
it has to be hot dish.
Get educated. If a movie was made about your life, who would play you?
Oh God.
Shakira.
Fat Jonah Hill.
Fat Jonah Hill. So
fat, not skinny Jonah Hill, not 22 Jump Street Jonah Hill, Wall Street Jonah Hill.
So like Jonah Hill every 4 months when he goes into
Moneyball Jonah
Hill.
Fat
Jonah Hill's funnier though too.
Yeah, I think he fattens up in the odd years and slims down in the even years.
Yep.
I think that's kind of his thing.
There's a pattern there. Would you rather have your head be the size of a tennis ball or that of a watermelon?
I'd probably say tennis ball.
Really?
I think the watermelon would just be a giant inconvenience, you know?
Okay.
So if I wanted to poke my head into like a small area, or how many times have you dropped something under your couch, under your bed, and you need to look for it, but like you can't get at a good angle to look inside?
That's a good point.
I'd like
so
to
many
sleep
times because I have a fat ass head.
Okay.
I like this. I hit my head getting out of my car this morning. I like the sleekness of the tennis ball size.
Yeah. Okay. No more bumping into shit with your head. Got it.
Yeah.
Minneapolis or St. Paul? Which is the better city?
Probably Minneapolis because it has Target Field. I haven't spent a ton of time in both. Our cousin Tim lived in St. Paul and Brant. They had a really cool spot there.
Yep.
But just Minneapolis is Target Field. That's kind of where it starts and ends for me.
Okay. In self-defense, how many fifth graders could you take on at one time?
Maybe two.
Two?
Because you got one arm here, you can kind of hold them off with an arm, but then the third one comes, and little kids, I mean, by that age, they know that like if you punch a dude in the nuts, it's really gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And I feel like I might fight off the first two, but then the third kid would come in just clobbering, and then boom, hammer it down, and then I'd be in Bubba.
And he would drive the dagger. Yeah. Would you always be rather wearing a shirt that's a little itchy or a shoe that always has a pebble in it?
Probably the itchy shirt. I mean, either one's not great.
Yeah.
But probably the itchy shirt because I can't. Yeah. I mean, the pebble is just infuriating. It just drives you nuts.
Yeah. What's more realistic, ghosts or aliens?
Probably aliens, right? I mean, the universe is giant. Credit to Neil Ziller, physics teacher at Richmond High School.
True.
The universe is ever expanding, right. And it's too big. Plus, you see all the shit with the UFOs now from the
That's
Pentagon?
Been brought up quite a bit this weekend. Yeah, with the declassification files from NASA, CIA, and
they're
stuff.
They're just waiting on something like this to release this info.
Yeah. No, you're right. I have a guess of what this is, and I don't know if it's right, but I'm excited to hear. If you had one sport that you could watch for the rest of your life, you can only pick one. What is it?
What's your guess first? I want to hear your guess.
Baseball.
No, my guess is golf. A lot of people have said golf.
But I got to go basketball.
You got basketball. Wow.
I got basketball.
PA said the same answer. PA said basketball as well.
So here's why. Basketball and golf's kind of like this too, but basketball is really intimate in terms of you can tell immediately what an athlete's feeling, what a guy's thinking. You can see if there's a verbal exchange. You can read. I just like really the intimacy of basketball, and it is an ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
And the thing with basketball too is there's a degree of certainty to it, in terms of who's going to win and who's going to lose. So when that doesn't happen, it's shocking. And I probably would pick basketball. I really would.
It's a good answer.
Okay, cool. Well, Tej, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but it's been a lot of fun hanging out, man. I want to remind all you guys to donate. Go to www.10000takesmn.com/Sota-stream. I think we've crossed the. How much are we at? We're over 1,300.
Oh my God!
Wow, guys, yeah, 1,377.
Yeah, can I just say something quick about the donation? And first of all, what you guys are doing, I mean, this is just a phenomenal thing, and a great way to give back, and it just shows the kind of people that make up Minnesota.
Yep.
Another thing too, that if you're not donating because you think, I can only do $5, $10, I'm not going to make a difference. I interview the head of the Winona Volunteer Food Shelf on my show pretty regularly, and she has shown me the amount of food that they can buy for $5 is absurd.
Yep.
So
it goes a long way, guys. Anything you have to give,
it's amazing.
It's
amazing how long. Yeah.
I've had friends only donate $1, and we really appreciate that all the way till 100 or whatever you can give. So once again, Tej, we'll have to do this again. This was a lot of fun, and
this was a blast, man.
We'll see you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
See you, Tej.
See you, Tej.